Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad IMAN bin Muhammad NAPIAH. Okay, our group is talking about the firewall. So, first of all, what is a firewall? Firewall is a device that allow the several network to connect to each other while adhering to the set of security policy. So, the firewall will they are applied when network with varying list of different list of trust when want to communicate with one another. So firewall will apply when various level of trust need to communicate each other. So for example, it's a commonly found between a corporate network and a public network such as internet. That is a firewall. So it can also be used within a private network to restrict area of the network. So a firewall should be used anywhere. There are different level of trust among different component of a network. So for comparison, if you know the router, firewall function are mostly similar to the router in that they connect a network. So both router and firewall is connect to a network. So firewall software is installed on the host that is linked to both trust and untrusted network. So the host operating system is the exchanging of the routing function with several operating system can execute. So prior to deploying the firewall software, the host operating system should be secure as possible. So the router will secure if the firewall is deployed. Okay, there is a little bit about the firewall. Okay, next I will talking about history of firewall. Okay, the first firewall was created in 1980s by American technology companies Cisco System and Digital Equipment Corporation. So this network layer firewall access packet based on basic information as their obvious source, destination and connection type. So before we achieve today firewalls, there have been through 3 generation of firewall until today. Okay, let you see the first generation. The Digital Equipment Corporation engineer created the first firewall known as a packet filter firewall in 1988. This quickly became a highly technical internet security element. So Bill Chiswick and Steve Belovic created the first working model, which was based on their original first generation architecture. So how is this first generation work is they use they name packet filters. They work by analyzing the packet that move between computers on the internet. So if a packet mesh the packet filter set of rules, if we drop it or rejected by discard it and send error response to the source. So that is how the first generation of firewalls work. Okay, next the second generation. Okay, Dave Presto, Jonathan Sharma and Kirsti Nigam, these 3 colleagues from AT&T Bell Laboratories have invented the second generation of firewall from 1888 to 1990. So this second generation was invented by Dumbert, the circuit level of firewall. This circuit level firewall are just improved version of previous generation. So as we know before, the first generation has used a packet filter. So this second generation, they named that filter being used is stateful filter. So they had to start up with the involving computer to computer connection technology via the internet. So the been improved version of the previous generation. So there is a second generation. So today the third generation, the Internet Engineering Task Force Middle Box Combination Working Group is currently working on defining protocol for this generation of firewalls. So the third generation of firewall is incredibly user-friendly, allowing even the most technology illiterate to implement basic firewall rules and bypass. So there is all three generation of the firewall. So that is all from my part. I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is IZZUL bin ISMAIL. My matric number 2020897072. Okay, I will talk about next generation of firewall. Intro for the next generation is the firewall serve as a network boundary first line of defense against cyber threat for an enterprise by inspecting all traffic passing through it. This enables the organization to extend network security policies at this location and give extensive visibility into traffic. Next is how next generation can provide personalized protection with firewalls. Okay, first, robust threat prevention. Every organization cybersecurity is influenced by both internal and external pressures. Every business, regardless of sectors, is governed by laws that compared to the safeguard the personal information of its clients. Second is flexible deployment. Network instruction vary greatly amongst organizations in various industries. A banking institution network is quite different from that of a manufacturing organization, which is very different from a retailer network, which includes numerous geographically dispersed sites. Third one is application and identity-based inspection and control. Business in many industries employ people that carry out specialized tasks and then use specialized and industry-specified apps to reduce the company cyber risk. An organization must be able to customize its security rules to specific apps and job function. The fourth is meeting industry-specified needs. Many businesses have access to control settings where they can install firewalls like servers, rooms, or cloud-based infrastructure. This helps to ensure that the system is operating at its peak efficiently and that environmental variables do not compromise the cyber security of the company. Next is firewall update. It is impressive that you can keep your network security equipment update. It's even more crucial to upgrade a network firm network firewall for the same reason that we frequently update our smartphone, browsers, and desktop operating systems. Alright, next is why should we update the firewall? Okay, numerous bug patch are included in every release to address problems that frequently result from modification to external software. Your network device will operate without hiccups and always have access to the internet, and thanks to this modification. So for the security update, they have advantage for the operating system, which each release hundred of improvement made to the system. Antivirus to keep the operating system and signature database compatible. Third one, intrusion prevention to be able to recognize and stop the most recent kinds of network attacks. And lastly is application controls. The software used for file sharing and anonymization frequently changed to avoid content filtering. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum, my name is NORFATHIRAH binti Muhammad SABRI. There are several types of firewall that work on different layers of the OSI model. Depending on the kind of service and security you need for your network, you need to choose the right type of firewall. The following is the list of some most useful type of firewall that are widely used for network security. Number 1 is screened host firewall. Number 2 is screened subnet firewall. Number 3 is packet filter firewall. Number 4 is stateful inspection firewall. And number 5 is proxy server firewall. One is screened host firewall. There are two types of screen host. One in a single home bastion host and the other one is a dual home bastion host. In this case of a single home bastion host, the firewall system consists of a packet filtering router and a bastion host. A bastion host is basically a single computer with a high security configuration which has the following characteristic. Number 1 is traffic from the internet can only reach the bastion host. They cannot reach the internet network. Number 2 is traffic having the IP address of the bastion host can only go to the internet. No traffic from the internal network can go to the internet. Style of configuration can have a web server placed in between the router and the bastion host in order to allow the public to access the server from the internet. The main problem with the single home bastion host is that if the packet filter router get compromised, then the entire network will be compromised. To eliminate this drawback, we can use the dual home bastion host firewall system, where a bastion host has two network cards. One is used for internet connection and the one is used for connection with the router. In this case, even if the router got compromised, the internal network will remain unaffected since it is in a separate network zone. 2 is screened subnet firewall. In this configuration, two packet filtering router are used and the bastion host is positioned in between the two routers. In a typical case, both the internet and the internal user have access to the screened subnet, but the traffic flow between the two subnet, which is one is from bastion host to the internet network and the other is the subnetwork between the two routers, is blocked. The screen subnet firewall consists of one or more internal bastion hosts located behind a packet filtering router, which is host protecting the trust network. In the second general model, as illustration below, the connection are routed as follows. Connection from the outside or untrust network, the routed through an internal filtering router. Connection into the trust internet network are allowed only from the DMZ bastion host server. In this picture show the following of screened subnet firewall. Number 3 is packet filter firewall. This type of firewall is the most common and easy to deploy in a small size network. A router functions as a firewall by examining every packet passing through the network. Based on the access control list, the router either forward or drop packet. Normally, the IP address of the source and destination, port number and type of traffic are taken into account when the router processes each data packet. Since a router cannot check packet in the application layer, this type of firewall cannot defend against attack that use the application layer vulnerability. If the packet header pass the test or is valid, then the firewall allow the packet and its permit to proceed. In other words, a packet filtering firewall is focused on packets that meet certain set conditions, while stateful monitor the entire active network traffic. Firewall examine packets as they pass through using standard and root protocol, ports and destination address. A packet is a unit of data sent through a packet switch network. Packets are reordered when they reach their destination after passing the firewall. Packet switching improve communication efficiency by maximizing network. They include bits of IP address and other data need to send the packet to their destination. This is the data that is attempting to reach its intended destination. Packet filtering may be divided into several categories as follows. Static packet filtering firewall need that you manually configure firewall rules. Efficiency is one of the main benefits of packet filtering firewall. Router generally work rapidly accepting or rejecting packet depending on their originating port and address. Others have higher performance overhead than packet filtering firewall. On the other hand, packet filtering firewall might not be as secure. Stateless packet filtering firewall may be vulnerable due to individual packet evaluation. Because most packets do not safeguard from address spoofing, fraudster may use them to access network. Number 4 is stateful inspection firewall. Stateful inspection firewall work at the network layer in the OSI model. The main difference between packet filtering and stateful inspection is that the latter one analyze not only the packet header but also inspect the state of the packet along with providing proxy service. Stateful inspection firewall maintain a state table and a set of instructions to inspect each packet and store the information based on the type of traffic. If there is only port not required by the connection, then the port get closed. A stateful firewall is one that keeps track of the entire state of active network connection. This means that instead of examining discrete traffic and data packet in isolation, stateful firewall are continuously analyzing the entire context of traffic and data packet in order to get access to a network. A further variant of stateful inspection is the multi-layer inspection firewall, which consider the flow of transaction in process across multiple layers of the ISO open system interconnection 7-layer model. Stateful inspection firewall is a type of firewall which is an advanced version of a first-generation firewall. A stateful inspection firewall also filter individual packet header, but it also goes one step further. Number 5 is proxy server firewall. Proxy allow user to run specific service or type of connection by enforcing authentication, filtering, and logging. For specific service, there will be a specific proxy. For example, if you want to allow only HTTP connection to the internet for your internet network user, then you must allow only HTTP proxy, nothing else. User who need to go to the internet create a virtual circuit with the proxy server, and the proxy server send the request to connect to a specific site on behalf of the particular user. The proxy server change the IP of the request so that the internet or the outside world can see only the IP of the proxy server. Thus, the proxy server hide the internet network behind it. When a proxy receive the data from the internet, it send the data back to its internal user via the visual circuit. The main advantage of using proxy is that it is fully aware of the type of data it sends and can give protection to it. One disadvantage of proxy is that if there is an update of protocol that is used by internet, then the proxy software also need to be updated to allow a specific service related to the protocol. A proxy use the same procedure to examine the packet header information as the packet filter, but it also examines the packet content. If the content does not match the criteria you set in the rules, the proxy take actions such as denying the packet or stripping the content from the packet. Okay, that's all from me, which is type of firewall. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So for firewall function, the first point is to controlling and monitoring data packet flow. The firewall function on the first computer network is useful in controlling and covering the inflow of data packets flowing on the network. The firewall function also includes revision of incoming data packets and is suitable to hide an IP address. The second one is to become a network security post. The firewall function on a computer network is suitable for control data business when penetrating a defended private network. All business, either coming out or entering the network, must pass through the firewall in order to be checked, either by filtering, limiting, or indeed rejecting. The firewall itself will work according to criteria similar to the IP address of the source computer, the source TCP, UDP, harborage, the IP address of the destination computer, the destination TCP, UDP, harborage, and information coming from the title. So the next one is log user activity. When a computer's kernel access data, the firewall will record it as attestation or log lines. The actuality of these data records will be used to develop a computer's security system. Also, the function of the firewall is to authenticate access to the network. And the last one is to prevent information leakage. The function of a firewall on a computer network isn't just to record stolen assertion. Firewalls are also suitable to help the leakage of precious information. Simply put, a firewall that will help druggists from transferring precious lines that are non-public or secret to other parties without realizing it. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. My name is ALIF MUZHAFFAR ROSLAN. I am from IM2463ST1 and my ID is 2021323127. And in this video, I am going to make a presentation about advantages and disadvantages of firewall. So without further ado, I will continue with the advantages of firewall. So the first advantage of firewall is it defends against malicious trojans. Trojan is a type of malware that is dangerous for computer users. It silently watches everything you do on your computer while sitting there and spying. Every information that they gather from the users will be sent into a web server, and the victims will not notice anything happening with their computers until it starts acting strange. In this case, a firewall will instantly block the malware before they cause further damage to the system. Next, the purpose or the advantage of firewall is to monitor traffic. One of the main responsibilities of a firewall is to oversee the traffic that passes through it. Firewall will inspect all the information that travels through the network in form of a packet from any hazardous risk. The firewall will immediately block it from going further into the system. Next, the third advantage of firewall is it prevents hackers. On the internet, hackers are always looking for computers to use for their malicious purposes. When they happen to catch their victim, they will start to spread the virus to access your personal information to steal and destroy your data. In addition to those hackers, there may be other undisclosed individuals like neighbors who are searching for an open internet connection. Therefore, having a firewall security is a good idea in order to stop such intrusions. Okay, for the last advantage of firewall is it blocks the data outflow. Firewall can block the outflow of data in case your computer defense strategy was not enough to keep the hackers away. When this occurs, the firewall will only let people in, but it will not let anything out, creating a one-way door. This is useful to determine the the source of the attempt, as firewalls can also record IPs and signatures. Okay, now I will continue to the disadvantages of firewall. Okay, for the first disadvantage of firewall is it decreases the performance level of your computer. It is known that firewalls, particularly the software base, are capable of limiting the overall performance of your computer. The performance of the computer depends on the processing power and the RAM resources. Okay, so because the software is continuously running in the background, they consume a lot of resources that might result in decreased system performance. Hardware firewalls, however, have no effect on system performance because they do not use computer resources. Next is vulnerabilities. There are a number of vulnerabilities that can be found in firewalls. Employees may use the backdoor frequently under strict policies, which could draw attention to these vulnerable entry points and lead to their exploitation. Furthermore, firewalls do not offer antivirus, anti-malware, or anti-spyware capabilities. They simply act as a perimeter to stop unauthorized data transmission. So, if a malicious software unknowingly enters your system through a safe channels like email, you would need additional security. Okay, so additionally, potential attackers pay a lot of attention to firewall, making them a target for attacks. Should a breach attempt be successful, the network of your business would be entirely at the will of the intrusive party. So, for the last point, for the disadvantage of firewall is the cost. Depending on the kind, firewalls do require an investment. Generally speaking, hardware firewalls cost more than software firewalls. Additionally, installing and maintaining hardware firewalls can be expensive. Without the assistance of a skilled IT professionals, these configurations cannot be made. When compared to a software firewall, there is not much investment required and the deployment is simple enough for the average user. So, we have come to the conclusion. In conclusion, a firewall is the most crucial component of overall security since it requires authentication from all users and tracks all incoming and outgoing traffic. Firewalls are increasingly becoming a crucial component of a comprehensive network security policy as the internet plays a bigger role in business. Incorporating a firewall into a network topology can be done in a number of different ways. Also, there are numerous factors that could be taken into considerations when deciding whether one should implement a firewall. Generally, the most crucial factors are typically performance, feature set, and how well the product integrates with the existing network infrastructure. Since there are many options available and the firewall market is still in its early life, it is anticipated that as the market develops, the successful products will be those that excels in these areas. So I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you so much.